Most people don't think of mechanics as scammers. Sure, there are a few that overcharge or don't do what they're supposed to, but most of the time they're fine. However, there are enough mechanics that are doing trash work that I had to talk about it. Oh, and by the way, most of these trifling individuals are not the average grease monkeys. They are the ones that own and operate businesses that do custom work that can cost as much as a fancy vacation. And the customer is getting a trash product or sometimes even no product at all. And disreputable shops have always kind of been a trend as far as cars go. Or maybe trend is the wrong word. I would say that disreputable shops have always been a thing as far as cars go. Like, if you were to take your car to a shop, you know, you've got to be real careful about who you send it to and even where it is, because there are people that want to take advantage of other people. Like, that's just a simple fact of life. And recently, it's become even more of a thing, especially with these celebrities that are getting into cars, which is a very big part of what I'm about to talk about. A lot of people are starting to see this and they're thinking, hey, you know what? I'm not going to take the long and correct way to the top. I'm going to just take advantage of people and see how far that gets me. And I think that's why it's become such a prevalent issue in the past 5-10 years. And the reason I feel like it's more common now is because of how big social media is and how big of a role it plays in the auto industry. And before anyone gets grouchy and says, well, you know, you're always talking about this social media stuff. Well, it does play a big role for people wanting to promote their businesses, and especially in such a small niche as the automotive industry. And TikTok and YouTube and Instagram have undeniably made interest in cars bigger than it's ever been. And with that come a lot of people that are trying to promote worse than like normal work or scam people. So you no longer have to take out a newspaper ad and actually pay to promote your disreputable business. All you got to do is make a TikTok. So if that pops off, you're good, you're golden. You've got unlimited victims. And that's what brings me to kind of our first celebrity story. And I'm sure most of you know who the Stradman is if you've watched any sort of automotive YouTube in the past 10 or so years. And I was kind of loosely following his Lamborghini Gallardo build. And while I wouldn't necessarily take my car to B Rogue build, I'd take it to AMS, which is in the same area, and they have way more like race pedigree than B Rogue does. But like, I'm not gonna be an elitist, especially when I cannot purchase a twin turbo Lamborghini. But when his video came out talking about the situation, I was kind of shocked, to say the least, but it also made sense with how long it took them to do a pretty simple thing. Like, a twin turbo kit should not take 3-4 years, even with COVID and all the supply chain stuff. And on top of that, they charged him $50,000 for a car that wasn't even finished.
Look at that, it's just rolling and it just shuts off. It just shuts right off. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And it just dies.
If you're gonna spend 3 years and take that much of someone's money, you have to put your heart and soul into the work. And B Rogue Built and GMG Automotive, which is the shop that scammed T-Pain, those are examples of this, and it's just so messed up. Like, you've got to really be a greedy, money-hungry Mr. Krabs type to try and scam them out of a bunch of money, especially when you're friends like with them. In T-Pain's case and in the Stradman's case, they were friends with the people that were building their car. At least that's the way it appeared. And if it's someone that you're friends with and they're taking your money, that is the most despicable thing I can think of. And it's not even like the monetary loss. And I don't think that's what it was for the Stradman. I really don't think that's what it was for T-Pain either. I think it was, I trusted this person and then they snaked me out. And in T-Pain's case, I would say it was almost worse because his car is almost a total write-off.
Wow, man. Damn.
Like, there's frame damage, and on top of that, the lipstick that they put on the pig to kind of please him or whatever is terrible. Like, look at this picture. It's the mirror, and I mean, I'm sure it's hard to wrap a mirror, but it honestly looks like something I would have done when I was 4. And that's not how you're supposed to run a business, especially one where you're charging $40,000, $50,000 for someone to get their car built by you. And T-Pain, I'm pretty sure, built his relationship with these people when he was newer in the car industry and all that, and maybe didn't quite know know how stuff was supposed to go down. And that's why they took advantage of him. And it's just stupid to me why they tried to scam him, because if they hadn't and they'd actually done good work and, you know, stood on some actual morals, they could have actually had a really good relationship and they could have been completely set up for life. But instead, they wrecked his car and then tried to cover it up. And Stradman, like, he went to B Rogue. They were well known. They did the social media talk and kind of walked the social media walk. And they, from the outside, looked very reputable. And this is, again, is something that's been going on forever. I've read in car magazines about people sending their car off to someone to get modified or painted or something, and they just never hear from them again. And it's just insane to me that this is something people do for fun, and there's still a bunch of terrible people out there that are trying to scam them out of their money and even scam them out of their cars sometimes. It's just wild to me that some people will let their passion or whatever get completely overridden by their want to make money in the easiest and sleaziest way possible. And maybe some parting words of wisdom for anyone in the car hobby are, be careful who you're sending your car to. Like, there are bad people out there, and they're gonna try and, you know, skedaddle off with a bunch of money or your car or whatever you send them. And finally, if you appreciated this video, I would really appreciate if you like and subscribe. Like, I haven't been super consistent, but I'm really trying to make better videos, and if you're interested in that, maybe follow along, and I'll see you next time.